What is up guys, Rekus here with a new video, and today we want to have a look at SL30 Forest. I actually managed to clear that during the live stream yesterday. If you guys didn't see the live stream, you can see the clear now. For all the people that have already seen it, they of course know the clear, but I still thought it would be interesting to take the time and explain some of the mechanics, some of the things that changed from now basically to the earlier clears of SL Forest. I think Jesus did one, not quite sure if there even was a second one to be honest, but I could imagine that some people that also own Ferroclean Vesa at A tier did clear it as well. And with that we are already at one of the biggest problems of clears like this at the moment. I still think you will need a Giant Killer A- or better Ferroclean Vesa, and those copies are still super rare, so that's quite unfortunate. But as you saw already in the first fight that is in the background, those damage numbers you have to do, you can see it right now, are like 154 billion. That's quite a lot. Trillion it is. That's quite a lot actually, and we have to do that in quite a short amount of time. If we fight the boss on the earlier fights, it can take a bit longer, that's not a real problem. But against the boss, you have to have the burst to get the boss down, because otherwise he will just slay you. The team itself is still the basic team that was used earlier as well. Now, of course, added with the Mystic Fairy Freya, which helps quite a lot because you get some extra dodge, you get all damage reduction, which also helps against the dot, and some extra shields, and of course the extra damage and the poison synergy, which we couldn't use actually. We tried to use Snake Pet, but the problem was that my Ferroclean Vesa at 3-4 had such a high upgrade that her speed was just too huge to get Mystic Fairy Freya even somewhere close. So one thing you could do, of course, is have a lower upgrade on her and thereby get the speed closer to that of the Mystic Fairy Freya. And if you can get Mystic Fairy Freya faster than the enemy, you of course also have poison synergy with Snake Pet and can do like 80% more damage, which is quite nice at that. Other than that, we use two Olivias, mainly to shrink enemies, because that reduces their damage by 60%, but also to heighten the damage we can do against the enemies, which helps quite a lot. And you will see later in the fight against the main boss that he takes quite a lot of damage when he's inflicted with the shrink effect. The best part about the shrink effect is this cannot be purified. The enemies in the higher SL stages here have purify, but shrink is a skill effect, and their purify doesn't work against it, which means it lasts the full 2 rounds. I think it is 2 rounds, and we can actually profit from that a lot in those fights. Even shrinking minions can be very beneficial at that. In the fight itself, the strategy I used was using melodic strings with Ferroclean Vesa in the front row. We used the crit attack stone actually. Formerly you needed a speed stone to be faster than the enemies. Now with level 390, Vesa is actually faster than the enemies without a speed stone as well, so you can use the crit attack stone, which is a lot more damage and a lot more reliable, and this really helps a lot, and is a nice little upgrade. And with all those extra buffs that we got, I actually didn't even need very good copies of the Pandas and the Olivias. The Olivias and the Pandas are mostly C tier with like Sea Life, and there you could see the boss getting burst down in round 3, which of course helps quite a lot. And now it's basically only cleaning up the minions. With enough bursts and the Olivia shrink on turn 1, you really want to shrink the boss on turn 1. This can work quite well. And you don't even need that much life on the minions itself. We also had the Vesa core, This effectively gives your minions a lot more effective HP. So does the upgrade to the sublimation tree on Ferrokin Vesa that gives them more armor. The effective HP basically calculating in the damage reduction that the minions get to the HP stat they already have. So the effective HP does get a lot higher through that. And this makes it possible to have very, I wouldn't say bad, still C tier is alright, but not very high quality copies, and not very expensive copies at that, and still clear SL30 forest with relatively low effort. So yeah, we didn't really need a lot of attempts. It was quite alright in the end. Some of course to figure it out, but it's okay. And now I prepared basically a bunch of screenshots for you guys, so we can look over the setup and everything. Thought that might be the best way to conserve it, as I had to switch to other gears, of course, for other game modes. This is basically the setup I used. You can see the team now with the 2 Olivias, the Mystic Fairy Freya, and we have the 2 Pandas. And first thing I want to note is we use split gear on all the support heroes. You can see here both the Olivias and the Pandas both run split gear. Running split gear in that manner basically heightens the HP your heroes have, and HP is really everything, especially in the back row. The front row is a lot more tanky. But in the back row, you really want extra HP to make those support heroes basically survive. The Mystic Fairy Freya basically survives on her own. She has you can go very defensively with the imprints. We didn't do that. We went with the R crit damage, but you can go more defensively, and basically this will guarantee your survivability. But on the support heroes, you will want homeowner Olivia and homeowner Panda, and if you can, the other Panda homeowner as well, and buff their HP up as much as you can without hindering your Vesa from attacking, which is, by the way, just looking at the screenshot, I just noticed it looks like she has red eyes, which is quite funny. I didn't see that before. Then we might want to go over the artifacts. I basically ran crowns on all heroes that weren't Vesa. Crowns still the best artifact to get damage reduction, and especially good to get damage reduction on the round 1 where you don't have the armor from the Pandas, and later on when the all damage reduction from the crown diminishes, you have some armor from the Pandas and a little bit of survivability through that, so that helps. These stones were HP or HP block, whichever I got first. Both are quite alright stones. The HP is a little bit better later, but I feel like the HP block can enable you to scale Panda boss a bit faster if you have those on the Olivia. But whichever you get first will be alright. On the Vesa, I ran crit damage and attack, and this was basically the best stone you could get. We had to run growth, couldn't run the mightiness. If you of course have even more speed than I do, you can run mightiness for even more attack, and more attack means more damage, so that's quite nice. And for the second enable, we have lethal fightback on Vesa, of course, for more damage, and on the support heroes we went for the increased effect of being healed. A lot of people try to run Shelter for decreased crit damage taken, and of course this seems okay on the first thought, but there is one mistake in that thinking. The minions and the boss in Forest SL actually have a 0% crit chance and will never do critical damage, meaning that if you run Shelter here, this is a completely wasted enable, so you better run either Lethal Fightback or the increased effect of being healed, which I think is much better for the support heroes. The third enable is actually a different story. There are 2 ways to go forward here. The first one, first people run Attribute Reduction Purify on all heroes. Attribute Reduction Purify has the advantage in the Forest SL that you can purify the decreased effect of being healed, which is an attribute reduction you receive from the boss and from the mages. And purifying that will of course make the Vesa able to heal the minions again, which will increase the life pool and can lead to good results. I personally noticed that especially if you run the tactic with the melodic strings, you don't really need the attribute reduction, as your main goal is to get to like turn 3 with a rather complete team to burst the boss down, as we've seen in the video before. So I personally prefer to run dot purify to get rid of the dot of the boss. We don't really need that on the Transcendence hero. They are just tanky enough. They can better go with attribute reduction purify so that even the Mystic Fairy Freya can deal some more damage. But as I said, on the support, I prefer running the dot purify, and of course Unbending Will. The other one basically has no place here. We need Unbending Will because we reach it quite fast. What I also ran was the core on the Vesa, just to be able to heal the first hit that we take again on the supporters and instantly get a bit of armor on the minions. And this also helped us to survive the turn 1. So did the Melodic Strings. The Melodic Strings let her do an active on turn 1, which will give all our minions a shield, as you saw. And also with the sublimation that we have on her will give them 33% of armor, making them a lot more tanky. For the enables, we went with the R crit damage on both of them, both the Mystic Fairy Freya and the Vesa. Very solid enables at that, and critting the boss is basically the number one way to kill him. We had Phoenix Pet here as well in this setup. I'm actually not quite sure at the moment if we ran Snake. You can see it in the video if you ran Snake or Phoenix. Phoenix has more damage, but sometimes the boss doesn't purify the poison, and if he doesn't purify the poison, you have more damage with the Snake Pet actually. And if you can get your Mystic Fairy Freya faster than the Vesa, this will actually be a lot more damage. We didn't do that here because that would have required getting the tree materials from my Fairy Queen Vesa, which isn't that easy at the moment and requires you to replace the hero in the void and taking it off of the home, and we didn't do that because it would work like that. But having the Freya faster even than the Fairy Queen Vesa will yield a lot more damage if you use Snake Pass, so keep that in mind. Then we want to have a look at the tree of origin of my Vesa. We had unlocked a lot there actually. We had level 80, so in theory unlocked the third passive, which I didn't want to unlock because it would have required me to use the sublimation chest, and I don't think it's that good of a skill. But we had the active skill fully unlocked and the first passive also fully unlocked, which is the basic skill. The active skill has the nice sublimation that gives you 33% of armor, or gives every hero that is healed on your side 33% of armor, which is quite a lot and makes them a lot more tanky, so I can definitely recommend that. At least getting the active skill here. The basic is nice as well, some reduced all damage dealt and stuff like that, but you really want the active skill unlocked. That is something I would recommend. And if you can get the core somehow, that's good as well, but you can definitely clear it without the core, the main part of course being still the A tier Fairy Queen Vesa. Then I thought, let's look at my star spawns. Basically mostly max star spawns, still have to get them to level 140, but we have all the debuffs from the star spawns that are not HP or attack, and have that all as well. So not a whole lot more I can do here. Gallery, we have a max skin gallery with 10 million attack, which of course also helped the pandas to get some more attack. We have the artifact gallery also maxed at 30 artifacts. You reach the max point, max, you can see it here. The equipment gallery is more than maxed, and then we have the avatar gallery, of course, far off from being maxed at 266 points, level 27. So we had quite good gallery buffs, with the exception, of course, being the avatar gallery, but that's just insanely difficult to make progress there. Residence 1, we had the fully maxed residence on the Vesa. I later noticed a little mistake. I had no flag on the SFX, so we could have done a little bit better, but you mostly get the point. A maxed residence on the Vesa. Get some flags for your heroes, get some forest flags, get some transcendence flags, will help a lot. Then we had this residence on the Mystic Fairy Freya. Not entirely maxed, but all the heroes here had flags as well. Depender being the exception, he had the crown, of course, as this was also Depender we used during the fight. He was in the back row as well. Died a little bit early, we should have put some HP on him, but it worked either way, so that was quite alright. This was the other panda, the homeowner panda. He had the remaining materials basically from the Mystic Fairy Freya with a Rogan to give him some HP. 50 million HP here is quite alright. And for the last slot we have one of the Livias having some basic tenants here, and not that much of an HP buff, but still a little bit, and helped her survive a little bit longer. Yeah, so that's basically it. That's the way how I cleared Forest SL30. If you ask me now if that will be the way for a lot longer, I think we will make reasonable progress with non-A tier Ferrokeen Vessels quite soon. I could imagine SL29 being cleared very soon without an A tier Vesa, because I didn't show that here, but we had the wrong setup in SL29 and still cleared it very easily. So I would think that this will be possible quite soon. And with all the tree upgrades we get, I would imagine that there are quite a lot of possibilities here. And it will become easier and easier to go for SL29 and later on, of course, also SL30 there. I guess the people that have cleared SL28 now will, in 1 or 2 weeks or something like that, not very long, be able to go for SL29 as well. And at that point, it's basically only a matter of time until they can go for SL30. So, with that, guys, ask all the questions that you want in the comments. I answer every comment, as you know. And we'll try to help you all to clear as much of the PvE content and PvP as well as I can. And I want to thank all the people that were in the live stream yesterday, that watched the live stream. We were 170 viewers at peak. Made me very happy that so many people joined again. We had a lot of fun. And especially I had a lot of fun, I have to say. Always enjoy the time being together with you in the stream, playing the game. Especially want to thank Devilman666, made the first donation to me, which I appreciated quite a lot. I appreciate the support. Good lad. And I hope we can have another fun stream. Might do something next week, we will see. I will, as always, alert you guys beforehand. And with that, I want to wish you guys a great week, and we will see us in the next one.